Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Here I am again. I thought I'd finished for the week, but you get some new news overnight. Had a nice lie-in this morning, got up, made myself a cup of coffee, turned on the TV, thought I'd catch up with a little bit of a few of the other content providers, hear the pressers, and then a bit of news comes in, and you think, oh, does that change things? Does that change things? Certainly made me relieved that I didn't do my normal thing, because you guys know what I'm like. If I've got a substitute in mind, or sorry, not a substitute, a transfer in mind, I tend to act reasonably quickly, with a little bit of a risk assessment, so that I can beat price rises and price falls. And I'm not completely irrational in when I do that. Yeah, I try to check what's going wrong here. Um, Normal circumstances, if I had been absolutely set on Gapco, I would have done that earlier in the week to beat a couple of price rises. And as I say, that has been a fundamental part of what I tried to do, certainly in the first 10 game weeks, was build up my squad value. So definitely glad I did not do that this week. Wasn't set in my ways, but information has just come out. I think it was in the pressers, and one of the other content providers was saying Curtis Jones, muscle injury. And if I know muscle injuries like I know muscle injuries, and I've had a few in my time, and it certainly sounds like he's going to be out for at least a few weeks. Certainly, even after those few weeks, I think he'd be eased back in. Maybe easy Champions League match where they've already qualified, as we know, or the FA Cup match where they're playing a lower division team, and I don't think he'll be putting massively strong team out for that. I think obviously the Premiership I think will be Slot's priority and get the best 11 he can out for that on a week-by-week basis, and use easier cups or Champions League where they've got nothing riding on the next game to give other players minutes. So, me, between the Jota injury and the Curtis Jones injury, I think that makes the minutes of some of the other players that I would have been worried about more secure. Now, one of those would have been a Gapco, but I'm not overly excited by Gapco, if I'm being really honest. I spoke about, I'd have to be breaking up a forward line that I'm very, very comfortable with, certainly for the next few weeks. I don't want to break that up. 29, who do I want to bring forward, etc., etc. Just not ready to break that forward line up at the moment. So it would have had to come from defence. And again, similar situation. The defence looks good. The upside in defence, particularly bringing in Konate, who looks like he's got an injury as well. Be not risked, I think, in 3 games in a week. So which games will he be left out for, or come up with limited minutes, or bring in a Virgil van Dijk, who there's probably is a couple of clean sheets in the next 4 games. Not much attacking threat. Virgil averages 2 goals a season. I think he got last year. He got 3 the year before. And he's on 1 this year. So he's already halfway to his annual total. He's probably going to go and get a bloody brace now, and he just to spite me, the thicker. Anyway, I don't really want to do anything in their defence because I'm not too sure who I want to take forward to the blank 29. So it really left me with midfield options to start looking at. So Enzo is someone I clearly want to get rid of. So an option has kind of presented itself. Now, eventually Enzo is going to turn into Mbemo by game week 25. And I still want to get there easily and not mess that move up, because it's really a really, really important one. With the Brentford fixture swing, they're going to come into some really nice fixtures. So, bringing for Enzo, that now I just feel a little bit more comfortable with. And it's a little bit probably football could. I still have this hunch about McAllister, but it is a bit too high risk, I think. This guy, he's started the last couple. No returns though. Expect goal involvement, not awful. He's shown that he has that whole potential, particularly I think maybe some of these sort of easier fixtures, or fixtures where there's that it's sort of an all-out attack. We've got the Southampton there, and Tottenham there. There's 17 and a 10. It's a little bit sparse though, isn't it? Really, but where were the minutes there? Yeah, erratic, early substitutions. Doesn't overly excite me if I'm being really, really honest about it. But it is not an awful option, considering the fixtures and considering that it is a strengthening. It's certainly an upgrade on Enzo, I think, given that there are 4 fixtures there, and 2 of those fixtures against what would be considered, and we know football's a funny old game. Liverpool scrape a 1-0 win against Ipswich because Ipswich have got 11 men behind the ball. It doesn't excite me. The player that I would have ideally wanted to bring in, unless it was Jota, and we knew that Jota was fit and cranking, and he was actually going to get through a couple of months without an injury, which with Jota, he's just another one made of glass, isn't he? Such a great footballer, but he's absolutely made of glass. The player that does excite me a little bit because he has got that explosive potential, and I would have liked to have brought him in, but I couldn't really get there in one move. And added to that is was the minutes risk, particularly if it was Jota was fit. But even with Curtis Jones coming in, for the last 15-20 minutes of games, etc., just feels he might be a little bit secure to at least get that 70 or 80 per game. And he definitely is a flat track bully, this guy. Do like a flat track bully when you've got some potentially easy games coming up. So his minutes, they've not been awful in the last 4 or 5. I don't know if he was injured or had a niggle or something for that Leicester 3-1 at home. But again, I think whether it was left out in a rotation for that one. Not overly worried about that, knowing now the sort of injuries that Liverpool have in the squad. 9-pointer against West Ham, not spectacular. But these are the ones that I like the look of. When you see that potential for that, 14-pointer there against Brentford, 15-pointer against Man United. 3-0 against Bournemouth at home, when Bournemouth were not quite the unit that they are at the moment. Over 4 games, he has got that explosive potential. The problem is, I'm taking out a player that I would really, really like to hang on to. And then he would have to come in, if I do it in one move, because remember I've got my no hits policy. I'm going back to my basics of what is supposed to be my methodology. It's supposed to be take no hits, manage your way out of situations. If you've painted yourself in a corner, manage your way out. As I always say, when I do my top 5 reviews, you'll see that never ever take a hit. Never. They just manage their way out if they've messed up somewhere along the line. But yeah, you look at that the expected goals. Oh, it's actually. Yeah, expected goal involvements. It's a bit all over the place at times, but in general, it's not too bad, particularly against those lower placed teams. Your Southamptons, your Leicesters, your West Hams. It's just a fact of life, isn't it? He would have to come in for Gordon. I really like Gordon. Leads me towards maybe it's a good possibility. Obviously, there's those apart from after this week, Newcastle's fixtures do take a turn. Gordon is potentially, and I'd say likely, a blanker in game week 29. This doesn't affect my move for doing Enzo, which would be a 2 transfer thing, and I'll have my 2 transfers to bring Mbeumo in for Enzo, as well as bringing in another player that will be actually fine for blank game week 29. So I'll be able to get Mbeumo in for 25, another player where I'll be taking a potential blanker, or at that stage I'd know that they were a blanker out. So I feel as I'm moving towards post 25, that move towards a fully playing 11 or really close to it by game week by blank game week 29. Do this one. I know I was pretty set yesterday. Pretty much right about 90% that I probably would just roll, get more information, and then reassess post game week 23 going into the double. and that information I think is leaning me towards a player that actually has at least taken away to a degree one of the risk factors involved in it. And now Diaz, not worried about Isak killing me on the captaincy if he does outscore Salah this week, because not too many people would be captaining. You know, so every man and his uncle is on Salah. I think you know, he's riding at 99% captaincy, which is not surprising given the fixture. So that's kind of where I quite often liked having that Gordon Isak. So at least I felt I'd get some benefit from an Isak goal, because there's a high likelihood Gordon would be involved. You know, in some, or Isak could even be setting up Gordon. Less worried about that sort of going forward for the time being, given for the next 3 or 4 fixtures everyone's going to be on Salah. I think I am going to move Gordon out for Diaz. Let me know what you think in the comments. I am not going to promise that this is the last one of the week. It's a never evolving game, isn't it? But it should be the last one of the week. But let me know what you think in the comments of the move Gordon out, bring Diaz in, now that we know that the minutes might be less of a risk. But I think I'm going to do it. It feels like a reasonably well calculated punt, as opposed to doing something nuts like bringing McAllister in for Enzo, and maybe I'll just be in that game week a little bit less nervous, and then rolling into the double, knowing I've got effectively, because I could spend an attacking asset, 3 really good assets capable of those fixtures being very, very easy. Well, very, very. Never use those words, Des. It is a recipe for disaster, because you're creating a narrative that will bite you on the arse. Have fun, play your own game. Don't panic. I will see you on the flip side yet again. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.